Hi everybody, this is me, Corey T, and Mo is here today, and I'm so excited because you've heard me talk about Mo in videos, and some of you have met Mo in the Manifestation Masters Academy, and me and Mo are just going to have a chat. Basically, we are going to have a chat, and we're going to talk about Mo and what he does and what he's been doing with the Manifestation Masters Academy, and also in his own personal project, his PhD and his practice and his methodology that he has developed with clients and creating transformation, narrative transformation, and all sorts of things. Mo, hello.
Hello.
What would you call yourself? What's your title? Because it's changed
Doctor.
over the years.
My title's now Doctor.
Doctor of Doctor.
Well, actually, I found out that you get a doctorate in the in whatever your research is. So my research was solo autobiographical theatre as a self-transformational process. So that's what I'm a doctor of. But I don't really have a title. I'm not very big on titles. Not titles and not labels and not totalizing people. And but can we come back to where you began recording?
Yeah.
Can we come back to your dilemma about whether this was a good day to do it or not a good day to do it? And the vulnerable, you used a few words. I already can't quite remember what you said, but vulnerable, one of them. Tell me a bit more about that.
So I started the call and I said to Mo, I said, I don't know whether this is a good idea for us to do this call today, because I feel like I've been a bit hijacked by my mind. And, these guys who watch my channel, they know me as Corey T, who's always kind of very calm and sorted on my videos, but I guess the truth is that I wasn't, in order to get to many of those realizations that I share with people. But today I'm having one of those days where I feel like I'm very vulnerable. I've been hijacked by my 15-year-old self, and I was saying to Mo, like, I don't know if that's like the best idea, and he was like, press record.
And you and I have an agreement that if there's anything up, I mean, we made this agreement yesterday when we talked about doing this video, this Zoom call, and we agreed that if anything was up for either of us, we would go for coaching either way. So you okay with that?
Yeah, well, we talked about the humanness of just being a person, I suppose anyone who says they've got it all figured out hasn't.
So, and Karina, look, just let's make it really clear. Anything you don't want to say, you don't need to say. And anything you want to edit out, you can edit out. And we don't even have to show this whole video to anybody. It's like we can make it like it never happened. But I'm curious, because it's really age specific when you say, I've been hijacked by my 15-year-old self. What happened at 15?
This is where I feel like I had a really big turning point in my life. So basically what happened was I got into a relationship, my first sort of proper relationship, when I was about 14 or 15. And before that, it's like a really clear distinction. It's like before and after this person. So like before this person, I mean, I was anxious teenager. I was very anxious, but in terms of relationships, I was always like, I know how I feel. I like you. No, I don't like you. Or no, I don't want to have sex with you. Because I'm not ready, and that's fine with me. Even though I like you and I wish you liked me and I wish you'd be patient with me, I don't care, because I know how I feel about myself. And I was always very good with saying yes and no, basically. But and it was sort of like I was enjoying just being a teenager, despite the fact that I was anxious. There was never really any huge confusion. But then there was this guy, and he was the head boy, and he was really, you know, everybody liked him, and everybody thought he was just amazing, and everyone kind of gravitated towards him, including me. And he started liking me, and then suddenly I'm in a relationship with him, and everybody was saying things to me like, "Oh wow, you're so lucky. You're so lucky that you're going out. You're going out with Chris. Oh no, I better not say his name. Well, you're going out with Chris, right? He was called Chris anyway. Hopefully he doesn't watch this. He won't. But yeah, you're going out with this guy, and I became really, really small, which has like been, you know, a thing that has happened in, well, probably why I avoided relationships after that point. But basically what happened was I feel like I immediately changed my whole personality to be with him. And it threw me into this like really big spin of I couldn't express my feelings. If I was angry, I wouldn't tell him. I felt like I had to be with him, and I had these feelings of I don't know why I don't feel normal, but I'm in a relationship and this guy really wants to stay with me. And I you know, slept with him before I was ready. I did it because I was confused, because I felt like I should, because it felt like it was going that way anyway. And it basically threw me into this whole big spin of like, I don't know what I feel anymore. I don't know who I am, and I don't know what I feel anymore. And I was really, really, really just confused, totally confused, and always obsessive, always thinking, oh my God, what do I feel? What do I want? You know, how do I know what to do? How do I stop thinking? Why don't I feel right? You know, what's wrong? But when I look back at it, I see like how much I'd changed myself to be with him, how much I'd adapted to be with him, how much I'd like wanted him to just stay. And I remember saying to him, this sounds really strange, but I remember saying to him, I wish you were my dad, which makes a lot of sense. But yeah, anyway, after that point, after that relationship, I was completely different in terms of my ability to discern like how I felt about someone, if I liked them, if I didn't like them, and yeah, what I wanted. And basically when I met Johnny, I was like, oh my God, I suddenly know how I feel. I know how I feel, and I'm not questioning it, and I really want to be with you. And it was really clear. So I became very attached. But long story short, yeah, over the last few well, I don't know, I've had it's been in and out. I've been hijacked by that part of me again, where I'm like, I don't know who I am, and I don't know what I'm doing, and I don't know how I feel about anything. And it brings up this enormous feeling of resistance in my chest. And when it happens, I can't do anything. I will just completely shut down, and I can't even, I don't know, I can't even speak. I can't even like express myself properly. I feel like I'm crazy. And I feel embarrassed by it. I feel like you know, Johnny does know like what I'm going through, and he knows that like that's happened, and he knows that I have these thoughts, and that I've had this experience of when I was young. And he's incredibly patient, and he, you know, never makes me feel like I'm crazy or anything for it, and has understood as much as is possible. But that's one of the things I don't really know if anyone really understands it. And I've yeah, so yesterday I started like talking. The reason why I said my 15-year-old self was because I asked myself like, how old do I feel? How old do I feel right now? And I was like, I feel 15. This is 15. This is 15 all over again. And yeah, I just I thought, okay, what would I say to my 15-year-old self? And I was like, I would say, you're lovable, like, well, no matter what. You're lovable even if he's not there. You're lovable, like, you don't need to become a Christian to be with this person. You don't need to like bend yourself. definitely need to keep doing your music, and like it's okay if you don't feel, it's okay if you feel what you feel, basically. And I was saying that to myself, and yesterday all day, like when I was saying this to myself, I had a really good day because I was saying all of these things to my 15-year-old self, and I was felt like that had really connected something to me. And then this morning I woke up with the hijack feeling again, and I was like, why are you here? I thought we talked about this. And I found it really hard to be loving to myself, because I'm like, we've been through this, and what can I do? You know, like what can I do? And so that's in summary, that's what's
Okay.
been happening on and off for a
Okay,
while.
great. Now, that's fantastic. That's a really fantastic account of the story. That's the story, right? It's not the whole story.
No.
When we spoke the other day, Karina, when you were in the cafe
Yeah.
near the water,
Yeah.
and you were having a confused day,
Yeah.
you didn't tell me this story, but this description of confusion and lack of self-expression and do I want and do I not want, was that the same feeling of being hijacked by your mind?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Exactly the same. It's like
Okay,
literally before and after that
right. Okay,
relationship.
all right. Now, here's what I think. I think you've done a great job on working this out for yourself. And of course, working it out is never the answer. I mean, it's really, you know, it's our kind of Western way of trying to get to grips with something, work it out, analyze it, figure it out. But it's actually not the best way, and it's certainly not the only way.
Yeah.
So, I want to ask you about your dad. When did your dad leave in relation to being 15? How old were you when your dad left?
Um, 4 or 5.
About 4 or 5.
Mm.
Okay. Is there any similarity between when the reason I'm looking down is I'm just tracking the conversation. I'm just making notes.
Mm.
They're your notes, not mine. If you ever want them, they're yours. Yeah, they're just your words. When your dad left, so you were about 4, did you have that same feeling of, is there any similarity between the feelings that you had when you were 4 and knew that you found out that your dad was leaving, and this 15-year-old?
My memories of when I was 4 were like, I remember, and you know, like my family think, why do you remember this? We don't remember it like that. But I remember my mum and dad arguing and shouting. And I remember the day my dad left and he had a backpack on, and me and my brother were standing at the door waving. And I remember that, but I don't remember the feelings. But I do remember being in a room and going, stop arguing, like that.
Right.
And feeling like no one was listening to me. And I just don't have the memories of him not being there, but I remember him being there and it being uncomfortable. So I remember, you know, like he'd go away. So he was often going away, you know, like working. And he would come back and he'd be in a bad mood or something. And or like he would have brought us a present or something. And he just was there, but like he wasn't ready to be a dad. I'm like, basically I feel like I'm like thinking, oh no, I hope that this doesn't make him out to be really bad now, because he absolutely loves me. But you know, but it's like my memories of it are not comfortable. But I do have lots of similar feelings that I have had, like with my dad and in relationships. So like this feeling of wanting to be approved of has been really familiar.
But when you said to Chris, I want you to be my dad, what was it about Chris that you wanted? It was that there was obviously something about him that he was showing or providing, or giving you access to.
Yeah, it was the comfort. It was the I love you despite everything. I love you no matter what. I love you when you're crying. I love you when you're I'm here for you and I'm not going anywhere. That was the thing. It was this kind of like I'm with you. Like he was like that. He was very much like you're my focus, when we were together. Although, he had other things going on. He was sort of very popular and stuff, but he was very much in our relationship, very much like it was a focal point of his life. And
So, okay. So yesterday, when you were telling yourself you're lovable even if he's not there, that was one of the things you said. What would I say to myself, to the 15-year-old? You said, I would say to myself, you're lovable even if he's not there. You don't need to be a Christian. You don't need to bend. You can keep doing your music. That sense of you're lovable even if he's not there that you talked about in relation to yesterday, was it there when you were 4? You're lovable even if he's not there? Or were you unlovable when your dad wasn't there? Or were you unlovable when your dad was there?
Yeah, there's some physiological thing happening here, and I can't like put my finger on it. But like,
okay, don't put your finger on it. Okay, that's working it out. So let's do it differently. Okay, where do you feel it in your body? This
like upper body,
okay,
like in my arm. I often feel it in my arms. Like,
okay,
I don't know. Yeah.
okay. So let your arms speak, not Karina. Let your arms speak. So what are they trying? What are your arms telling you right now?
Like that. It's like smallness.
Uh-huh.
Like I'm just small.
Yeah. What do
Just
they
like,
want to tell you about smallness? Or what are they saying
I
or
just feel like
describing?
I'm like going like this. Like I feel
Uh-huh.
like I'm like not not good.
Uh-huh.
Wow, this is so weird, like the language of the inner child's. I I can't get the words are not there.
Yeah, I'm not asking you to get the words. I'm asking your arms to get the words right now. So go back to that clenched feeling of
Mm.
smallness and tightness and not goodness.
Mm.
When's the first time that you remember ever experiencing that? Something that or something similar.
Um,
Whatever comes to mind.
the first thing that came to my mind was being at playgroup. And I said, I want the tambourine. And
Uh-huh.
we were like playing, everyone was getting an instrument. And she went, I want doesn't get. In a
Uh-huh.
really stern voice. And I was
Uh-huh.
like, oh, uh, don't, oh, I'm so embarrassed and I'm so, yeah, not
Uh-huh.
not good.
You were embarrassed and not good.
Mm.
Very nice. That's a very nice description, is what I'm saying. Okay.
Yeah.
So in that moment, I'm not good. You made up. She
Mm.
said, I want, doesn't get. You were embarrassed and you made up, you invented, I'm not good.
Mm.
And how old were you at
Yeah, I
playgroup?
was bad. I felt like I'm bad. I've done something wrong and she doesn't like me. And I'm in trouble now, sort of thing.
Right. Okay. And so those are various identity conclusions that you made about yourself in that moment. What
Mm.
did you decide about her?
I didn't like her.
I don't like her.
Yeah.
Okay. And what did you decide about the world?
Um, I have to be good.
I have to be
Yeah.
good. And what does I have to be good mean?
I have to make sure people like me. This is just, I'm guessing, but
Do you feel it anywhere in your body?
yeah, I feel this as this whole story is making me feel this sort of sense of smallness.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it started very young, around then.
Yeah. How old were you at playgroup?
I must have been 3 or 4 or something.
Three. Three.
4.
Right. Same time your dad left.
Oh, yeah, interesting.
Uh-huh.
And
Tell
then
me what- Yeah, and then.
uh straight after that we moved away. We moved to Cambridge where, like I felt very lonely and very annoyed that we were
Uh,
moving to Cambridge because I was moving away from my grandparents who I love. And then I went to a ballet class,
mhm.
and in this ballet class I was not very good at it. I wasn't very good at ballet, and I had a bit of a tummy, and the teacher was like, hold your tummy in.
Mhm.
Why are you sticking your tummy out? She was really strict. She was from the Royal Ballet. She was like super strict. And anyway, I got put in, for some reason, got moved into a class with older kids. And I was the
Uh-huh.
youngest one there. And they put me in there, and she shouted at me again, and I ran out and like hid. And I thought, I'm never going to ballet again. And I never went ever again. But that was the same sort of like
Embarrassed?
embarrassed thing, and also just yeah, embarrassed.
What's the
And
word that's trying to come out?
it's like, you don't like me, like yeah, you don't like me, and I don't like you. Yeah, like yeah, like I'm bad, I'm just bad, I'm not good here, or like, something like that. And then this girl came into the changing room and, oh, she's nice. She's strict, but she's nice. You just have to keep going. And I thought, no, it's not what I'm going to do. I'm not coming ever again. And after that, I go very rebellious with
Uh-huh.
authority or anyone sort of trying to tell me what to do or anything like that. Um, and that carried on into my adult life, into all of my work scenarios, school, university. But yeah, like this sort of feeling of smallness and stuff, that's been there for
Okay. I
yeah.
want to just go back slightly in the conversation. So I said, so I said playgroup. How old were you? You said 3 or 4, maybe 4. And I said, oh, around about the same time your dad left. And you said, oh, interesting. As if that had never occurred to you before.
No, I sort of, I can connect. I can see, oh no, I don't know what I can see. I can see that I started feeling weird around that time, but I honestly can't remember not feeling weird, feeling bad. I think I don't remember ever feeling free, or like, I had a very serious face when I was young. A lot of the pictures of me have very serious, and I always felt like I wasn't cute, like I was bossy, because everybody used to call me bossy. Um,
Uh-huh.
and my brother was cute, but I was the bossy one, sort of thing.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I I have this feeling like with my dad where it was like I was his temperament was unpredictable, and I didn't know, like, if he was going to be in a bad mood or a good mood, or if he was in a good mood then it's great because he'd be really playful and fun and stuff, but it was in a bad mood, I would feel that smallness, like I'm not good. um
Is
yeah.
that, Karina, is that like it is that like you thought that his moods were dependent on you?
Yeah, I think that I in some way maybe that's the thing, because like that I was always trying to like, it's always like I was always trying to get him to love me or something, always trying to like um well, from my understanding of like what I've learned through doing coaching and stuff, I can see my, you know, as a child I wanted to be loved, I wanted to be held, I wanted to be, you know, all of these things, but I was sort of, it was either not there at all, you know, he was away or out or busy, or he was very much there and like playing, or he was in a bad mood and not reachable. And I think I maybe didn't feel safe or something. I didn't feel safe. I felt like this reaching thing, like where is, where's the thing that I need that I don't know, that I don't have words for? Like where's, you know, that's kind of like what it feels like. And maybe that's what it's always felt like my whole life. Yeah. Like this, sometimes I think that sometimes I think that they just thought I got the I sometimes I honestly feel like I got the short straw with my thinking, or like with like my um genes that like made me more prone to thinking like this or something. That's what it feels like. Or like that um I don't know, like I was born feeling a bit like this because my mum was always anxious when she was pregnant. And I sometimes wonder, was I just like born with like this fear, you know? But it feels, I especially recently, it has felt like, so because it went away, it sort of comes in waves. So it's like, it, you know, after we spoke the other week, yeah, when I was in the
Mhm.
cafe, it went away when I decided to like change the story and be like, oh, I'm not doing that story anymore. And it went away completely. And then it crept back in, and it's incredibly physical. Like the sensation of being like hijacked is incredibly physical. And because I'm such a, you know, like I've wanted to understand it, I've got a understanding in some way, but just not, like you say, like working it out has not solved it.
Yeah, so it's like an early warning system.
And
Tells
it's like free, like I'm frozen, and yeah, like I'm like a, it really does feel like that really young self that just goes like this, or like no.
So stay in that position and tell me the first similar occasion that you remember that you were in that position. Whatever comes up.
um uh
Where are you?
I just have all these sort of mini flashbacks of like being in that house, that first house that I remember.
Uh-huh. Right.
And it was sort of, a few things came up. One was the, I think that smacking was a thing back
Uh-huh.
then that
Uh-huh.
people did. Um, I think I remember being like this when I was gonna be hit,
Uh-huh.
and um, that was just, I my interpretation of that was that that's what parents thought they needed to do back then. Um, and also I remember my dad coming back from Italy,
Mm-hmm.
and he'd brought like presents for us, but it was like he just suddenly got into a really bad mood. And I
Mm-hmm.
was all like, yay, daddy's home. And then met with this kind of like uh, mood, this not loving vibe. And then um I remember my mum went away. And
Mm-hmm.
I was left with my grandparents, and she asked me to, my other grandparents, and she asked me to like put the duvet on the duvet cover, the duvet cover on the duvet, and I didn't know how to do it. I did not know how to do it, and I cried and cried and cried and said, I don't know how to do this. And she smacked me
Mm-hmm.
repeatedly and said, stay in there until you do it. Shut up.
Mm-hmm.
And was really angry. And I was like, what? Why?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so there's those that I didn't actually think about the sort of smacking thing because it stopped at some point. It just stopped
Mm-hmm.
altogether. But that I do think that I remember very clearly being like this, like, actually don't hit me. You
Yeah.
know.
So anything there about, I don't want to put words in your mouth, so tell me if this is not yours at all and it's just mine. But is there anything there about the world being an unsafe place?
Yeah, because when I was young as well, I was absolutely terrified of being left on my own. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, like I always felt really scared
Mm-hmm.
of being left. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't, that must have started around the same sort of time when mum and dad were not good or something. But,
Mm-hmm.
like even if they leave me at play group or something, I would
Mm-hmm.
scream and scream and scream.
Mm-hmm.
And oh, I hated all my teachers, all of the
Mm-hmm.
people, they were all very strict.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I didn't like the adults. I always felt
Mm-hmm.
like they didn't like me either.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, there was this yeah, I was really scared. I had lots of nightmares about being left.
Mm-hmm.
And then my dad, when I was 7, said, come to Germany, because he was living in Germany at that point. Come to Germany, but you have to fly on the plane on your own.
Oh yeah, you told me the story the other day.
And it literally terrified me. That's where I went like this. I can't
Mm-hmm.
talk to you. I can't do anything. I don't like you.
Mm-hmm.
This is awful. Worst
Mm-hmm.
nightmare. That was one. It feels like I'm just saying lots of random.
So that's perfect thing to say right now, because I was just going to ask you, it's like, how do you make sense of this entire, so it's all a story, right?
Yeah.
This is your dominant story. This
Mm.
is the story that kind of informs your life. There's what happened over here, and what happened can't be changed. And then there's all your responses. I'm terrified, I'm embarrassed, all the different responses to what happened. Nothing you can do about this, but everything you can do about this, because this is all where your agency is, where your empowerment is, where your this is in your zone of agency, personal agency.
Mm.
So, but it happens by making sense of, making different sense, making a new meaning out of what happened. So how would you? So how do you? When you tell me this quite long story,
Long. Yeah.
yeah, and you think about being hijacked yesterday, how do you make sense of this story?
Well, I keep relating it to my 15-year-old self, but then I think it goes beyond that, doesn't it? It just does. It's like I just think that like when it comes down to it, like I don't feel lovable. Like I don't. I just think that if you strip everything back, there's still a part of me that just goes, you're still not lovable, despite everything. You're still not. And like I think that the way I make sense of it is like, yeah, I have this part of me, this like inner terrified child that maybe didn't get the love that she needed or didn't get the like, confirmation or whatever it was, that a validation that I needed. And now physiologically that's like what's stuck in my body. But I guess like when I've been hijacked, like the feelings are so intense that I don't know how to make sense of it. I'm always like, what? Like what? It's like someone's talking to me and I'm like, I have no idea what you're saying. That's what it's like. But I try and like, what I'll do is I'll like put my hand there and I'll say like, I see you. I know that this is really uncomfortable, but I don't know what you're trying to say at the moment, but I'm ready to understand. But it's like, what it wants me to do something. It wants me to like do something, and I don't know what it is.
Yeah, but that's the theme all the way through. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. It was there when you were at playgroup. It was there when you were at ballet. It was there yesterday when you were hijacked. It's like that's the theme. It's like I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then it sounds like it's like what accompanies it now as an adult is am I lovable? Uh, how do I bend myself? How do I get back into somebody's approval? How do I make sure they're going to stay with me? Those are all the adult things. But it sounds to me, it does sound to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, that your 15-year-old hasn't been able to provide you with an answer.
Yeah.
You keep asking your 15-year-old, but I think you need to ask a younger one. I think the 3-year-old at playgroup, the 4-year-old when your dad, because I think it was ripe already when you were 15. It was there to be triggered. It was all there. It was all in place.
Yeah, I remember them. I remember people saying this was always going to happen. Like, and I remember being like, huh? What? But actually, I was already very anxious. I was already obsessive about my health, and already obsessive about, I was already feeling scared of the world. I was already feeling like that.
Yeah. So your radar. So you are a hijack waiting to happen. You're always. Do you know what I mean by that? You're always scanning for.
Yeah, hypervigilant.
Yeah. Maybe it's not even hypervigilant, because maybe it's just like in the normal course of your daily life, but you're kind of scanning in daily life where you're not hypervigilant. You're just going through your normal good day, and then suddenly it's that, oh, there it is. There it is. It's like a radar. And that moment is hypervigilant. That moment. The rest of the day is kind of normal. And it's like, oh, there it is. Now I need to make this interpretation. Johnny just said that. Mo just said that. Mum just said that. Oh, I don't know what do they want? What do they want?
What do I do? What do I do?
What do I do?
Yeah. It does. I get stunned by it as well. Like, I don't know what to do. I don't know.
So what happened yesterday? What triggered it?
It's very personal, but I'll say it for the, because who knows what we might use this video for a video that I put on my channel, or maybe we'll use it for our project, or maybe we'll use it for the Manifestation Masters Academy. I don't know, but it will help someone at some point. But what it was that basically I didn't know if I wanted to have sex or not. That was what it was. I didn't know if that's what I wanted to do. And I was completely stunned by it. And I was like, why is this here again? This is that thing that happened. That's why I say 15, because the first time that happened was when I was 15.
Okay, just stop for a second, okay? So that's okay. What happened immediately before you didn't know if you wanted sex or not?
Oh God. What was it? I just can't remember now. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, let's do it step by step. We don't need to, you can stop recording if you want, doesn't matter. Yes or no, it's your choice. Where were you?
Just I was on the bed there, and I was
on the bed.
Yeah.
With Johnny?
No, he was in the other room. And I was just like, yeah, just chilling out. I think I was chilling out, or I was like, I think I was thinking about stuff or something, or I was like reading an article, or I was
Uh-huh. Was there something in the article that triggered you into, I don't know if I want sex or not? Or something that you were ruminating about?
yeah, probably I was ruminating. More than likely I was ruminating about
Uh-huh.
something.
Uh-huh.
Um I'm trying to see. Let me just see what's on my phone. Let's see if there's any clues. Um what was I doing? No, I don't know. I could have been thinking about anything. I might have been talking to someone, or like
Okay. Okay. So what does this question, I don't know if I want sex or not, what does that mean to you? What does it signify?
uh like if I what the meaning that I'm giving it.
You said I was stunned by this thought. I suddenly had this thought. You don't know what triggered it. Okay, fine. We don't know what triggered. Something triggered it. Okay.
Mm.
Maybe it's not even important what triggered it, but maybe, I don't know. But something triggered it. And there you are with this thought, and you feel stunned. And you feel stunned, I'm suggesting, because that thought has a particular kind of meaning. It means something, it indicates something, it signifies something.
Yeah. Like, oh yeah, well, I think that I was worried. I was worried because I was sort of thinking, and it's such nonsense because I know that if I said no, I don't want, like, let's not do that. I'm tired. I can't be bothered. It would be totally fine. There would be no issue with that. But I think part of me thinks, really, would there be no issue with that? Like, would like it is that like is that true? Like, are you just not lovable because you don't want to do that? Oh, hang on, I've thought of this thing. It goes back to 9 at the time again.
Uh-huh.
Like
Uh-huh.
that, like I just, yeah,
What did you just see?
just the thing that happened when I was 9, where I like didn't know like what that guy was doing, and he was trying to have sex with me, and I
Uh-huh.
was 9 and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know if I should, and I wanted his attention. I wanted his attention. I liked him. I thought he was funny, and he was giving me attention, and he was um just just yeah, he was doing that. I don't know what he was trying. I didn't know what he was trying to do, but I basically just went along with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I felt really bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have done something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But also, if I didn't do that, then he would have just gone away. And then I would not have felt lovable like I
Right.
already.
Right. How old was that boy?
A bit, yeah, older than me.
A
Not
bit
much older.
older.
Yeah,
Right.
not
So,
much older.
right. So, okay. So that's a critical event.
Mm,
The way that you just described it was like, oh, I went back to 9. Oh, I got it. Um,
yeah.
uh, there was a guy not a bit older than me trying to have sex with me. I didn't know what he wanted. I liked him. I didn't know. I went along with it, and then I felt really bad. So that's smack between the 3 and 4 year old and the 15-year old. 9 year old is 9 in certain traditions is a very important age. It's kind of indicative of what's going to turn up when you're a teenager.
Mm.
Um, so that's a critical moment.
I'm feeling all this stuff in my body.
Uh-huh. What are you feeling, Karina? Just go, yeah, that. Let it out. Don't hold on to it. Let it go.
I don't know what it is.
It's okay. You don't need to know what it is. It's fine. Just allow yourself really just to experience the experience of the tears. this moment of upset, what, you don't need to analyze it, you don't need to figure it out, just be with it.
I've always like logically sort of thought, yeah, that fucked me up. Yeah, that did fuck me up. But like, no, you know, like at the time, I know that like what happened was, like after it was a secret. It was like no one could know about that. And I didn't tell my mom, I didn't tell anyone, but then I really thought that I was either pregnant or had AIDS when I was 9, because I'd learned about those things at school. So I really thought I had this big secret, like I'm 9 and I'm gonna have to tell everyone that I'm gonna have a baby. I hadn't even had a period at that point, and you know, like I thought that was what was gonna happen, and 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 I was terrified of this AIDS. People, I thought that I was gonna. I mean, it wouldn't have been possible looking back, but like, I just thought that that was how scared I felt of what I had like done, or what had happened or something. You know, like I was so scared that I'd done something really wrong. And I didn't tell anyone for ages, and I kept it a kind of secret. And then eventually one day my mum was like, "What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong?" Like, she came to say goodnight to me, and I like turned over and couldn't look at her or anything. And then I told her what happened, and you know, that she was very concerned about it. But up until that point, it had been a total secret. And I think living with that at a young age and not having any idea what had happened, and no one being there to say it's okay, must have been really scary. And I still don't like, even when I sort of cry about that, I don't know like what it is that I'm holding on to. I can still feel it, but I don't really know like what that is.
Okay. Well, let me just get that down. That you don't know what I am holding on to. Okay. And you've got, and you did this.
Yeah.
Here.
It's always here, like this
Always
big.
here.
The way I describe it to Johnny is, I say it's like something just gets into my body and goes, just so you can't feel, think anything. Here's this feeling, you know.
Right. So that's something that gets into your body. Is it like an octopus or a rock, or what is it like?
It feels like this big sort of like, yeah, like a rock that's going like that, or like,
right.
or sometimes it's sort of like, yeah, all around this area.
Right.
And it feels very intense, like it's sort of, I don't know how to explain it. It's not like anxiety like I've known it. It's like resistance. By the way, I've just noticed that throughout this conversation, I've got a headache. It's almost like it's like trying to take me away from all of this.
Yeah. Yeah. So so that this thing that gets inside you, is it is it like is it like shame or anger or bitterness or resentment, or in your adult language? Because your 9-year-old would have had a different language.
Yeah, it feels like this like a trapped feeling.
Trapped.
Trapped, like a.
Is it trapped like in a, does it have any other images that go with it? Trapped where? Trapped what?
Like, I mean, the thoughts are like, I don't want to leave. I don't want, you know, like I don't want to. I'm like not. I don't want to leave, but like also, how this feeling is so associated with like this relationship that I'm like, well, what? Although it's not, it's like I know consciously, I know that like I'm going through some kind of trauma, like releasing of some kind of trauma thing. I know that it's coming from the past, so I know that it's not to do with him, but in the present, I'm like, get away from me. Like I just don't want to be. I can't handle it. But then at the same time, I'm trying to handle it. I'm trying to like be there, to be a
Yeah.
girlfriend, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's sort of like I've got two. I'm aware of both realities, really.
Yeah. In the recording that you made, that you used my voice, the question that I'm asking, and you obviously resonated it with, otherwise you wouldn't have used it, was, what would you have to give up for this to be a transformational moment, right? So I'm really asking you about this thing that you don't know how to give up, how you don't know how to let go, right? And I'm suggesting right now that you don't know because there's a payoff. It gives you something.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
I'm gonna kind of shortcut, and I'm gonna suggest to you what it gives you. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna suggest that it gives you familiarity and this sense that not only is your story over here and you are over here, but you are this story. You are this story of this boy wanting to have sex with you, of the whatever feelings. You are this thing, yeah. And
Yeah.
that if you were to give it up, you would no longer be that story.
Yeah. Yeah.
You,
And when you said that, weirdly, I felt a tiny little moment of relief, like, oh, that would be very freeing, but then straight back into like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That's the payoff. It and you know, if you want to be free,
Mm.
well, let me ask you the question rather than tell you something. Take that moment of like that. What did you say? A moment of relief.
Yeah, tiny
Fix that
little glimpse
and
of
a
it.
glimpse, okay, and expand the glimpse so that it's not a glimpse, but it's a panorama. It's the whole horizon. It's everything you can see. That's your future
Yeah.
without this story. What would that be like? What's that panorama?
I just feel like it's lightness, and um like I feel like the little glimpse that I got was like lightness and connection and brighter colors.
Okay, and what would it take for you to own that future?
Mm.
All right, let me say it to you differently. Are you willing? So it's a question about willingness, not about ability. But
Mm.
are you willing that horizon, that panorama, are you willing that be your future?
Mm. Yeah, I really, really want that. That's why I feel like I've like been like thinking, trying to get there. It doesn't work. I know it doesn't work. But like that, my brain I've been saying, I'm determined.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm so determined. I know there's a way because I've had these little glimpses like that, you know, like a moment of like, it's gone. It's gone. Like that. I've had little tiny moments of that, and I know that it feels so much better, and I know that that is where I can go, and I know that I will teach people about it, and I know that it will inform so much of my future, and it will be liberating. I know that, and I know that I'll be able to do so much more whenever I feel like that. But yeah, it's just
Okay. Are you Are you willing to be a liberated human being?
Well, I think I am. I want to be. If I'm not, then I would like to be.
Okay. Okay. So that was, so I asked whether you're willing, I'd like to be, I want to be. I'm asking you, are you willing? Are you willing to be?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's step it up one notch. Are you committed to being a liberated human being?
Yes.
Okay. Could that include letting go of the entire story? Could you live that you have this story, but you are not this story?
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Okay. Now, what were the words you described to use to what were the words you used to describe that panorama? You said light and the
And
glimpses you've had. What are they? That
light, and it's like someone just chopped off all the things like
yeah.
around me that were like pulling me like that, and I'm like, ah, I'm here. Um
So
yeah,
that's present. Is that present? I'm
present.
here.
Yeah, present. Yeah, yeah.
Light, present,
And
and it's a
there was like connect more connected, clearer, uh and like brighter colors.
yeah, brighter. Okay. Now, if you were being lighter, present, connected, clearer, brighter, light, present, connected, clearer, brighter, if all of that was a cluster, how would you be being? What's the word, the way of being that captures all of that? Don't have to find the right word, just whatever's there.
The one word was like just getting. I just thought I'd just be getting on with things, and also I'd be more. I think I'd be more playful.
Uh-huh. Okay. Getting on and playful,
And more loving.
loving. So does any, so light, present, connected, clearer, brighter, getting on, playful and loving. If you were going to summarize that or capture it in one way of being, and it might be one of those words that captures it all. It might be just like being present, or it might be
Present, yeah. Present, yeah. Yeah. It's like not having that story. Just
yeah, not having that story, being present.
it's like it would be just like, oh yeah, I remember when I used to think like that.
Yeah,
I remember
yeah,
when I had all of that obsessive thinking. I remember
yeah,
when I had that really strong attachment to those feelings, and now I just don't.
yeah. I have the memory, I have the story, but who I am is present. I
Yeah,
have
yeah.
that, but who I am is present. I have that, but who I am is present. See, this is what Martin Heidegger calls owning yourself as your possibility. Your possibility that you've just described is present.
Mm.
Can you own that
Today,
right now?
yes. I don't sound very sure though. I
You
don't.
don't. See, we're creating something. You can, and what we're creating is what, again, what Martin Heidegger calls being a stand for something, right? And it's based on nothing. You don't have to you don't have to have any evidence of this. It's just it's a pure creation from nothing. Who I am is present. I
Yeah,
have this story. I know I have this story. I know I have this past. I know these things happened, but who I am, my being, is present.
yeah, yeah. I see what you mean. Yeah,
Can you have that?
yeah. I can. And actually this is the thing, because last time we spoke, I think we didn't have this conversation's been amazing, because it's like gone into all sorts of different avenues that maybe I needed to last week but didn't know. But like what was I going to say? It's oh yeah, I felt that like last week I felt like I went away and I was like, I'm just gonna get on with my life. Like, I'm just gonna go and decide that this is how I'm gonna live, and that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna be here now and decide that that's that and this is this. But then my thinking brain crept in. Is that a habit? That's just a habit.
Yeah, well, it happens. Look, the moment of transformation, it's like, it's not the top of the mountain. It is the top of the mountain, and it's also not the top of the mountain. In that moment, it's the top of the mountain. But as soon as you get, oh, I got it, I'm present, who I am is present, then the mountain gets bigger. You still got to keep climbing. And then that's what you just called habitual thought creeps back in. Oh, and then you remember, no, who I am is present.
Well, because you know what I noticed as well, like, is that I've had these, like, I've been on this kind of journey of having these little maybe moments of like presence and freedom and like and understanding or something, and then it's like I get a hangover from being present. It's like I go completely back down again because I've experienced that sort of sense of presence. And then yeah, it's amazing when you are there, when you're like, because honestly, like, it was a few days and it's been a really intense period of time, like, over the last few months, I would say, since June. No, since June, I think I started having all of this stuff come up, all this trauma things come up, and I was like thinking, and so it's been really intense, but it has led me to like these moments of like this conversation and like this moment, little glimpses, and then when I've had them, I've been like, oh wow, oh, that's what I'm going towards, that's what's happening here, and then it will drop back down again, and then I'll be like, and then but you know what's so interesting is that as you've said this, all of that sensation's gone.
Yeah, because this is the difference between working it out, figuring it out, analyzing it, is experiencing the experience.
Yeah.
When you experience the experience, it disappears.
Yeah.
It just does. It's like it's an undebatable phenomenon. It happens that it disappears. Yeah. Now,
what did I experience? Did I experience that 9-year-old? Is that what?
You were in tears and you just allowed yourself, whatever it was, just to go into it rather than resist it.
Yeah.
Just stay with it.
You don't need to know even, do you? I think that's one of the things that had tripped me up in the past so much, is like,
okay, look, let's not for a moment, don't go back to the theory, okay? I want you to, I want you to complete here, okay? So you said present, okay? Yeah. I want you to tell me who I am is present. I want you to say those words. Mo, who I am is present.
Okay. Mo, who I am is present.
Okay, now I want you to embody it and say it to me.
Okay.
Yes, with the breath, exactly.
Okay. Mo, who I am is present.
Okay, now I want you to say it comes right, embody it, mean it, like own it, and then it comes right down the Zoom line into my house.
Okay.
That doesn't mean shout, it means own.
Yeah. I'm trying to sort of get there. Okay.
Look, okay, I think I know what's going on. I think you're trying to prove something to me.
Well, I'm trying to think. We're trying to get.
Okay. We're just going to do it until you get it. Okay. Just say it to me. Just say it to me. No meaning attached, no nothing. Just tell me that that's who you are.
I am present. I'm
Again,
present. I am present.
again.
I'm present. I'm
Say it
present.
again.
I'm present. I am present.
Okay, let's try this. Who I am is presence.
Who I am is presence. Who I am is presence. Who I am is presence.
Say it to me like you're singing on stage. Now, I don't turn it into a song, but say it to me with presence.
Okay. Who I am is presence.
You feel that one?
I'm going to do it again. Who I am is presence.
Again.
Oh, it's not quite there. I'm getting it. Okay. Who I am is presence.
Are you?
That felt good.
Who are you?
Presence.
Who are you?
Presence.
Who are you?
I am presence.
Okay.
Did you feel that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You feel it?
I felt that.
I am not, you are not your story. You are, who you are is presence. You are not your story. You have a story and you are presence. And they can coexist.
Yeah.
And sometimes this one will try and grab this one. And it's like, nope, who I am is presence. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah. Wow. That was a huge shift in all of this. I really didn't know how we were going to get there at the beginning of this call.
Nor did I.
Cool.
Very cool.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, for anyone who is watching this, and again, I'm not sure. I need to go away and watch this and see like what we feel like we should do with it. But like, you know, for anyone who is watching it, this is an example of like the kind of conversations that me and Mo have been having for but since I was doing my master's degree, isn't it?
Yep.
And like, you know, there's been so much growth since then, and Mo is like one of my people, right? That's why I like wanted everyone to know about him, and wanted to bring him onto the Masters Academy because he has such a unique and awesome and special and gifted way of like bringing people through their stuff, which is a lot where I've learned a lot of what I know and do through the way that you've coached me. So so I mean, what would you be able to describe, or like what is your methodology? What do you do? What are you thinking?
I try not to think.
Yeah.
No, I come back to that. I try not to think. Okay, I try to listen. You know, and I tracked the conversation.
Wow, that's
so
good.
So that I'm really present to what you're telling me, not what I'm thinking and not what I'm interpreting. I'm really interested in, I'm not interested in change. I think change refers to circumstances and transformation refers to our kind of inner world, our inner perspective. So transformation is a kind of a shift in perspective or a shift in our sense of location, the angle from which we see the past. So I'm interested in self-transformation.
Mm.
And from there, people's circumstances don't necessarily change, but their experience of their circumstances change radically, dramatically. I'm the things that we've just spoken about: presence, authenticity, having a story, not being your story, are distinctions that I like to refer to and fall back on.
Mm.
Uh, where we started with the whole theatre thing. I'm really interested in the process that theatre, the benefit that theatre processes can bring.
Mm.
I think theatre, performance, creativity have a huge amount to offer.
Yeah.
Um,
So what with your okay, so just to yeah, your PhD that you did, what did you it's so difficult explaining a PhD to people, isn't it? But like
okay.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Well, my PhD was 6 years of having the conversation that I just had with you with myself,
Oh wow.
right?
Ah.
Um, and I mean, obviously, it wasn't only with myself, because I had people who directed my performances. I had people who worked with me on spirituality, on being Jewish, on my connection to the divine, on I had a big circle of support who helped me academically, personally, professionally, theatrically, artistically. So my process was a process of becoming an artist, of
Yeah.
discovering that who I am is not just a coach, which
Yeah.
I've been doing for years, but is actually artist. So and art, so if I was working with you, we talked about this already. What you would do with me would create a performance, but a performance that was a piece of art, not a psychodrama or something like that, but was a work of theatre,
Mm.
that was your particular autobiographical opus, story, and your story of becoming, your story of triumph over the past, and um, and then we would put it on stage. And that's the cutting edge, is that
Yeah.
you get to show it to other people. So that's what I'm doing now. It's like, I'm obviously still coaching, but my coaching is long-term and artistic and based in performance. And I'm doing it too. I mean, it's not just that you're doing it. It's like I'm working on my own performance. I plan to do another performance in this time next year.
Yeah. Wow.
Something that's going to take me much more, even further out of my comfort zone. So, and I like to work in groups. I work individually, and that I'm happy to do that, and I like doing it. But I also like when you have a group who
Yeah.
are all doing the process together,
Mm.
each person doing their own performance.
Yeah.
Each person, and then people share and people see things from each other. I mean, it's a bit like your academy, but it's got a slightly different
Yeah.
flavor and direction.
Yeah.
And I mean, I had absolutely miraculous experiences doing my performances. I mean, really miraculous. Like, there was a point where I was looking at my computer, I was looking at images of the village in Romania where my great great grandparents lived. And they were very early photographs from about the 1880s. And I suddenly felt like an embodied feeling, like a sense of my ancestors all sitting on my shoulders and looking over my shoulders, looking at the picture with me. It was incredible. Yeah, that was incredible. Like, they were there in the room with me. I have no doubt.
Oh,
I had
wow.
another experience where Mark Drummond, who was my director, directing my first show, he said, and I was talking about my great grandfather, and he said, "Don't show me, don't tell me, show me." And I said, "But didn't know him. I never met him." It doesn't matter. Just show me. And I became my great grandfather. And honestly, I felt the feeling was, oh, his blood is running in my veins. It's only 3 generations ago. And I mean, I just felt really one with him.
Wow.
It was amazing. I mean, I had 3 or 4 of those experiences.
Yeah, that's so interesting as well, because I imagine that the curriculum for it is people's lives and people's stories, and everyone would have, like you had, a totally unique version of their own, experience of that, maybe, through the process of creating and becoming these different parts of your history, people, yourself.
Yeah.
The way I really like the way you described it to me the other day, where you were talking about how the process of like learning to like embody these different versions of you, these different like parts of you. So you might say to me, like, embody the version of you that's small and scared, and I might perform that, and then you'd say, right, how can you perform you, but the version of you that you would like to be? What does that look like? How do you embody that? And it's just so interesting because, in the manifestation community, on this community here, we're always talking about embodiment, but I don't really think people really know what that means. I don't think people really understand what that means, but you're basically facilitating a practice to like literally guide people and hold people while they are learning to embody a version of themselves that they can literally become.
Yeah. And it could be small, or it could be your father. I mean, and the thing about theater that I really love is that, which is what has the edge on coaching, like just, talking to somebody, that when I say to you, don't tell me about your dad leaving, show me, and you practice over and over again, like in rehearsal, stepping into playing your father and seeing the world through your father's eyes, because you become your father as a character, and you see the world through his eyes, and suddenly his leaving has an entirely different meaning. It's his meaning, not your meaning.
Yeah, wow, that's so interesting. Yeah, because in therapy and in like standard kind of coaching, we might discuss like the different perspectives, like so that you can have an idea of what someone might have thought, or the different, like for example, when I think about my dad and the way that he was, I do think to myself, I can have compassion for the fact that he was 19 or 20, very young. He just wasn't expecting to have a baby. It was all a bit of a shock. Must have been incredibly difficult. It'd been with my mum for 3 months, that it was unlikely that was going to work. Like there was like lots of things that make sense, like that must have been hard. And also, when there was other things at play, it makes sense. My dad had to choose himself. Maybe he was depressed, maybe he was, all sorts of things that made me think, I would have done a similar thing, or I would have maybe felt the same, or whatever. And then I understand logically that makes sense to him, and that there's less judgment in that. But like if I imagine being him, like actually walking in his shoes and becoming like, what would I do? Okay. And I'm imagining the situation and the scenario. It feels different.
Yeah. Now imagine also, you described your dad as, swinging, unpredictable, swinging, not knowing whether he was going to be a good mood or bad mood. Well, where did that come from? It's like, what was his grandpa like? What was his 2 grandpas? What stories were handed down to him that had him turn out the way he turned out?
Yeah, definitely.
So you get to explore all of that.
Yeah.
And put it on stage.
And it's a long-term project. You said 6 months to a year, or 9 months to a year.
Yeah. Six, I mean, it varies, you know, it depends on how long a performance people want to do. But if it's going to be a 50 to 70-minute show, it's going to take six, 9, even up to 12 months. I don't think it's ever gone to 12 months, but 10 months maybe, and then the performance in the 11th month. But it's such a wonderful voyage of discovery. I mean, it's just it's extraordinary. And I did I think in my PhD career, which was 6 years, I did about 10 or 12 performances, sometimes the same one 2 or 3 times. But over the last 10 or 12 years, I've done 16 performances, and each one has revealed something new to me. You know, it's not like, and I'm going to do another one that's going to reveal even more, you know. So I just keep pushing the boundaries. But I think it's an amazing form, solo, on your own, autobiographical. As you said, the curriculum is your story. I like that. That was great. It's just an incredible form. And when you are doing it live and in public, that performance is a breakthrough. It's like,
oh my God, I want to do it. I'm going to do it. I want to do it next year. We talked about it, didn't we?
Yeah,
like,
well,
me and Mo have said that we're going to make a movie, which is basically going to be like, I don't know if anyone of you have watched the documentary on Phil Stutz, which is on Netflix. And I saw that documentary and oh my God, we've got to make a version of this about Mo and his methodology and his practice and your life and how you've got to become where you are. And we were playing with names, and Mo came up with Movi, which is like perfect. But yeah, we were talking about how in that maybe I will do this. You'll coach me in becoming like telling my story.
Yeah, your story is great. I mean, you know, because it's got lots of different locations, you know, Cambridge, Australia.
Yeah. Oh my
Fantastic.
God. Yeah, no, it's going to be exciting.
And place is incredibly important. I'm really interested in the impact of place on people's lives. There's a whole part of my thesis and about how place informs us, and the growing up place, and the place that we choose, and a place that has a spiritual connection. And there's all different aspects of place that's so important.
Oh, that's so interesting. Oh, that would be so interesting to explore. When I'm thinking about, because I've moved around all over the bloody world over the last few years, and always I've been drawn back to Brighton. That's the place I chose, and that's so interesting. Yeah. Is there anything that you would like to add or say or ask?
There is a website, and it's called Life Rights, and that's LIFEWRIGHTS, not life rights as in rites of passage, not rights as in human rights as in playwrights who make a play. Life Rights make a life. So there's a liferights.com that people can have a look at and see something a little bit more. At the moment, honestly, it's just a very provisional holding space. But if anybody wants to look, they can find my telephone number there if they want to be in touch. And that you've invited me to come back to them to your academy. And if anybody wants to kind of meet me again, we can do it there. And anybody who doesn't know you, if anybody's watching, if we do anything with this Zoom, and anybody's watching who doesn't know you, I just want to so acknowledge you and say you're such a great person to have as a coach and to hang around with and be in in the inquiry. So, you know, thank you
Aw.
so much for
Well,
everything.
thank you. I wouldn't be who I am without knowing you, you know, and you being part of my journey. And yeah, I'm just really grateful for like for our connection. And you know, like when we started doing the masters, and I did my, you know, we started doing, I met you on like day one or week one of the coaching of the masters program, and I knew that you were going to be an important person in my life. But we always said at the end of that 12-week period where I did my it was months, wasn't it? It was we always said like we will do something. You know, there'll be something that we do. So I'm really so
I mean,
glad.
we already, what do we go? 5, when was your master's? 5 years ago?
I finished in 2020, so it wasn't like not even that long ago. But we were, you know, I was there for like 2.5 years before, so so it's nearly 5 years now.
18. It's been nearly 5 years. I remember you would call me from Paddington State. No, not Paddington.
Yeah,
from King's Cross.
Yeah.
You had short, very directive coach. Do this. Think about it. Like
you were literally like, right, that's it. You would speak for like 20 minutes and then you'd say something really profound and be like, bye. And I'd be like, oh wow, you don't need any more than 20 minutes. Which is, by the way, you know, in the Manifestation Masters Academy, what's been beautiful is that Mo will go within the small group. Mo will go around, usually start with a question, do you like yourself, or one of the other questions that you've asked, which helps you to inform like how the conversation is going to go, and everybody gets their Mo moment. And that's what and he's really, we've had so many profound moments in the last cohort, didn't we? So many beautiful moments. And the nice thing about group coaching is that you hear someone else's story and you're like, oh my God, me too. Or I'm so glad you went through that because I needed to hear that. And you didn't even know you needed to hear it. And that's the nice thing about the group coaching. And yeah, I'm really excited that you're going to come back. We've got 2 groups this time because we've got the group from last time that you already know. There's some of them are staying on. And then we've got a whole new group. And I think there's only 2 spaces left. So, you know, that's going to be a really interesting journey for everybody who
fantastic
comes on that too. So, yeah.
That's great.
Awesome. Nice. Well, thank you very much for this conversation.
Thank you too. Thanks for inviting me to do this. This is really, and thanks for sharing everything you shared. I mean, that was a big conversation that we just had.
I know. I mean, at the beginning of it, I was really like, if I share this, it's going to go, it's going to be a big conversation. So yeah, I'm looking forward to watching it back anyway. And like, I'll send it to you and then we can decide what to do with it. But yeah, thank you. I'm going to press stop recording now, but thanks for watching, everybody. And if you have any questions or you're interested in anything that I do or Mo does, then let us know. Right. And I will see you in the next video, or in coaching, or in the Manifestation Masters Academy. Who knows? And Happy New Year. It's 2023 in like a few hours, so let's make it an amazing year. Right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.